What a fantastic year it's been for the Export A Inc. Formula 2000 series. Great racing, intense competition, and some unexpected victories made this season one to remember. Drivers from all over North America participated in the series, each bringing his own unique style to every race. A season that might have been dominated by one or two drivers turned into a battle right down to the wire. Let's take a look back at a great season. And now it's time for the Firestone Fact with Larry Newber.
There are major changes coming in Formula 2000 racing. I have long been an advocate against the European or Formula 1 style of tallying points. So in 1991, it's obvious that somebody in Canada has been listening. Not only will you be required to throw out your 2 worst finishes, but also your 2 best finishes.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Also next year, there is a qualifying rule being installed. That is, if you pass a car in the race that you have out-qualified earlier in the week, it simply will not count.
I didn't understand a word of that.
There's also a new rule next year that says that if you finish in the same position more than 2 times in the season, any subsequent finishes simply will not count. The idea is that the team and the driver are supposed to improve as the season wears on.
What?
Now, one other thing. With the increased exposure from television, there's also an increased demand to keep the races more competitive. So every race, sometime between the last 5 and 10 laps before the checkered flag, a NASCAR type yellow will be thrown. A pace car will come out onto the track and the field will be required to bunch up behind him. All of this, of course, designed to make the season's points at the end much closer.
What do you say?
Every one of these provisions, something I certainly heartily endorse.
This guy, Larry, really knows racing.
Who am I kidding? I really don't agree with these changes at all. Double gotcha. There are no changes, guys, right?
Wipe out.
And now it's time for this evening's Export A Inc. Formula 2000 Prestone Firestone Motomaster Cardinal STP weather forecast. Well, apparently we're out of time right now, but suffice to say there'll be a lot of hot air blowing tonight. We're with Martin Guimont, and ordinarily, as you know, we interview him in English, but we thought this time we'd interview him in French, maybe a little easier for him in his native tongue, and then we'll subtitle what he says to us. Martin, you have the pole position. I guess you must be really happy.
Non, je suis pas content du tout parce que faut que je réponde à des questions stupides devant un casque de bain, puis c'est difficile.
A really happy driver, obviously, after that the great display in qualifying today. You went really fast today. How come you go fast like that? How do you go fast?
Parce qu'un mécanicien qui avait mis une thumbtack dans mon siège, puis j'avais hâte de finir la course, la qualification.
Candid words from Martin Guimont.
My season's been real interesting, Larry. I bought Claude Bourbonnet's championship-winning car, and I ran strong at the beginning of the season. And then my luck has turned, and now it's a little bit tough. I've had some bad luck, but I still like it. It's harder to have fun than it is to win, but I enjoy it.
Sad, happy, disappointed, surprised. Just talk briefly about your year.
We had a good year this year. This was the first time for us in a 2-liter car and first time up here with the Export A series. Learned all new tracks, had a good time, and we would have liked to obviously done a little better, but feel that it was a good, rookie year, and next year we'll come back and hopefully do a lot better.
For 1 second around a lap, how many pounds per second in a course lap?
Well, we can't really give it a time per se, but we can easily say every 10 pounds will be at least 1 horsepower. And seeing I was about 25 to 30 pounds overweight, I'm looking at 3 or 4 horsepower. And given the enormous talent I have, that's a lot of time.
Well, this is my
introductory year in professional racing, so I was just basically using this as a learning year. And we've learned a lot this year. We learned the different tracks, because most of my racing up until now had been done just at Montreal. And so we learned mosport and Shannonville and Sanair. We learned some settings. And I think next year it's going to be a much better year than we had this year.
Sam, also when I look at you, I see a guy who's like right on the edge. You're very close to moving into that upper echelon. What's it going to take to push you across?
Setup. That's the big difference here, is the setup. The top guys have really good setups for their cars, and they have really professionals helping them set the car up. Then there's a lot of good drivers. There's probably 40 good drivers.
And of course, they all share their secret with you, right?
Yeah, right. they share 50%, so we can make it 50% up the grid.
We enjoy this series very much. It's really just my wife and I, and we've been at it now for 3 years, and we'll be back. We're tough.
Peter, you're one of the younger guys really running in this type of racing. Any big surprises, or was this what you expected?
Pretty much what I expected. I mean, it is very competitive. I think a little bit more competitive than I really did expect it to be, but we fit in pretty well. I mean, we've had a pretty good season for our first year.
Is that bad or what? I mean, she just knows that this has got to be the class knob of the month, huh? I mean, I am the captain of the...
Does it make my ears look big?
I'm not really surprised with my time. I'm surprised, I guess, other people went a little bit quicker than me.
Well, the first race, I was hysterical.
Martin, you've had a great season. Why is it you've had such a good season, do you think? You've done so well.
Je sais pas, mais ça paraît que toi, c'est la première année aussi. Oui, peut-être que tu vas t'améliorer après une couple d'années. J'espère.
There you have it, Martin Guimond, with some very interesting things to say about his racing career in this season.
Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as you. Baby, you're the best. I wasn't looking, but somehow you found me. I tried to hide from your love, but like heaven above me, the spy who loved me is keeping all my secrets safe tonight. And nobody does it better. Though sometimes I wish someone could. Nobody does it quite the way you do. Why'd you have to be so good? The way that you hold me, whenever you hold me, there's some kind of magic inside you that keeps me from running, but just keep it coming. How'd you learn to do the things you do? And nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does.
And lastly, thanks from the entire video production crew to you, the drivers, mechanics, and team managers who offered their time and expertise in helping us to make this series the best on Canadian television. See you next year.